Well, good morning, everyone. Well, I'm probably just as surprised as you are to be making this video. It has come up very unexpectedly, very suddenly, but a opportunity has presented itself that I feel like I just couldn't pass up. Remember in last week's video when I said things can change in an instant or life can change in an instant? Well, indeed, that is the case. Sometimes it's for negative reasons, and sometimes it's in a positive sense. And this time, it is in a positive sense, I do believe. I've mentioned several times over the last year that I would like to eventually down the road have a home base. And honestly, I did think that was further down the road. But again, there is an opportunity that has presented itself that I feel like I just couldn't pass up. It checks a lot of the boxes in terms of what I would want as a home base. However, it does not check all of them. But if you've ever watched this show, House Hunters, you always see that they have all these things that they want and they usually compromise. They usually don't get everything that they initially wanted, but they get most of what they wanted. And that's kind of how I feel in this situation. It definitely checks the most important boxes, which is being out of a city, being in a somewhat remote area, being out in nature, being in the mountains, all of those things, it definitely checks. The boxes that it does not check is it is not my own land. It is not my own property. However, in researching buying land, it is way more complicated than one might imagine, especially if I'm planning to live out of a trailer or an RV. Right now, I just do not have the funds to buy a home on a piece of land. I don't have the funds to build a home nor the knowledge of how to build a home from scratch. So my plan for now is to live out of my trailer, and this situation gives me the opportunity to do that. It is on someone else's property. However, I will have my own space. I will have full hookups, all of that stuff. And the wonderful thing is I'll have somebody to look after my trailer when I'm on the road. It's interesting because a lot of the creators that I initially watched before hitting the road on YouTube that were living the van life have now gotten off the road. A lot of them have purchased pieces of land or cabins and are rebuilding those. That seems to be kind of the direction, the transition that people make from van life to a home-based life. It'll look a little bit different for me because I will still be traveling. How I envision things going is I will set out on what I call expeditions for 2 weeks to a month at a time. And during that time, I will film lots of content. After my expedition is done, I will go back to my home base and I will have all kinds of content to edit and be able to be home for several weeks at a time, several weeks to a month at a time. I don't know quite yet how I will incorporate my home base into the channel, or if I will, since I will be on somebody else's property and I do want to respect their privacy as well as mine. So we'll have to see how that all plays out. I can think of creative ways to film so that I would be doing both of those things, but we'll tackle that as it comes. For you, the viewer, it probably won't look that much different. I will still be traveling. You will see me going to all these amazing places. I will continue to capture and share the beauty of this world with all of you, which is the motto of this channel, regardless of what I'm traveling in and how I'm traveling. And that brings up the question, what will I be traveling in? I will be traveling in the truck with the truck camper. I did get the news that it is ready. However, I am still up in the mountains and it is down south and a snowstorm is about to hit up here. So I will be staying here through the snowstorm and I will go have it installed next week. It is kind of a daunting idea as far as living out of my truck while I'm on the road, because I am used to having a pretty cush situation here in the trailer, and this will be a much more rustic way of living on the road. That has honestly been my biggest fear about doing all of this, is I've gotten so used to having all of these amazing comforts and having this cute little studio apartment on wheels with me wherever I go. That being said, it has also been a form of stress towing this thing around. Last year alone, I broke my leaf springs, I punctured a hole into my propane line, I had a bird fly through the antenna on the roof, which caused a leak. There were all kinds of things that went wrong. I bottomed out on a dirt road and bent back one of the scissor jacks, the stabilizing jacks in the back. And that's just the things that have gone wrong with the trailer. The other stress of pulling the trailer is you really have to consider every single place that you're going. Will you be able to turn around? Can you park there? And that has caused me to visit a lot of the same places over and over again, because I know that I can bring the trailer to this place or that place, and I know I can camp here or camp there. As you might recall, last year I also said that I was going to stay in one place longer, and that really is due to the trailer, because I did not want to have to move it every several days, and it's really affected the way that I travel, because it's something that I always have to keep in mind and have to consider. I feel as though, in a way, even though it is wonderful having my little home on wheels with me wherever I go, it has inhibited my freedom to a degree. I've definitely longed for the ability to just pick up and go easily, quickly, and have a multitude of camping options at my disposal. Well, we have just about wrapped up the first month of the new year, 2025, and at the beginning of the year, I told you all that I had planned to move my body more and eat better and cut out sugar. Thus far, I've done excellent on those two goals, and of course, I have continued my daily healthy habit of taking 1 scoop of AG1 every morning. I'm not gonna lie, there have been a couple of days that I've missed taking my AG1, and I definitely felt it. I just feel better when I take it, and it gives me the energy to walk the at least 3 miles that I've been walking every day.
To nourish your whole body health, you'd need multiple supplements. 1 scoop of AG1 replaces your multivitamin, vitamin C tablets, super greens, probiotic, and vitamin B complex.
AG1 is a research-backed daily health drink that combines a multivitamin, probiotic, and a blend of superfoods into 1 scoop. Starting every day doing something that's good for me definitely puts me in a healthy mood and a healthy state of mind, and AG1 provides nutrients that support the nervous system and a healthy mood. I could continue to go on and rant and rave about AG1. I highly recommend it. If you would like to try it for yourself, go ahead and click that link below or scan the QR code here, and they will give you $20 off your first subscription, in addition to the welcome kit, which includes 5 free travel packs and a bottle of D3K2. Thank you once again to AG1 for sponsoring. Now let's get back to the video. One of the things that really got me excited about doing this is I was already contemplating the camping options that I have without towing the trailer. There are so many places that I've spied along the way where I would have loved to have camped, but I couldn't because I couldn't take the trailer there. Just as an example, there's a place that I return to every year in Utah. It's out in a big dusty field, and it is beautiful. I do love it there. However, there's a space not too far from that spot, up in the mountains, up in the trees with a creek running by, that I would have loved to have camped in. It's much more sheltered from the wind, and it's just beautiful up there, peaceful, quiet. However, I did not want to take the trailer there, and now I can camp there. I have a sense that traveling lighter, traveling smaller is going to prompt me to move around a lot more, which I think will be a lot more exciting for you, the viewer. I feel like it will alleviate a lot of stress not having to worry about 2 vehicles on the road and only have to worry about 1. And I do have a brand new truck, so I feel like that will be very reliable. I had considered getting some sort of a pop-up truck camper or truck camper. However, I don't think that I even want that heavy weight on my truck at this point. I just want to be as light and as nimble as possible. I really want to get back to basics. It's funny because I watched a couple other creators that I follow that were kind of thinking along the same lines and doing similar things to what I'm doing now, just downsizing, getting it back to the basics. And it's funny, I had already been considering it, and that is one of the things that made me feel like I was doing the right thing. Is I happened to see that there were these other creators that were thinking right along the same lines that I am. Probably my biggest concern about making this big change is that, again, it will be a much more rustic way of camping and living on the road. I will be a lot more exposed to the outdoors and the elements. I will have a very tiny living space. So if the weather is not ideal or there are winds or things like that, I will be confined to a very small space while I wait that out. I'll be spending a lot more time outside, which is not necessarily a bad thing. I actually feel like it's going to prompt me to be more active in terms of making sure that I get busy with my day and get out and do hikes and adventures and things like that, because I'm not going to want to just sit in the truck. Whereas here, I get a little too comfy. I can sit in here for days and not want to do anything outside. Honestly, it's just a little too comfortable in some ways. I think getting a little bit uncomfortable is going to be a good thing. I am currently working behind the scenes, however, to make it as comfortable as possible. One of the things I've done is I got this bad boy here. It is a Bluetti power station, and I got that with a 200-watt solar panel. I've been doing some testing of it. I hooked my Starlink up to it. It charged it for 9 hours straight one day, and it still had about 4 hours of power left on this bad boy. To power it, I tried recharging it with the solar panel yesterday, and I got about 50% more power over 5 hours. So it gave me about 10% per hour at 153 watts-ish that it was pulling in. So I think that's going to work out just fine. And I have really creative ways to make a little office for myself from the truck, and lots of things that I'm really excited to share with you that will make it as comfortable as possible living out of a truck cap, truck camper shell. It's going to be kind of fun, and I'm really excited to take you along on the journey of getting this truck all dialed in and ready to hit the road. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. So will that be the end of life in this trailer in terms of what you see on the channel? Absolutely not. There are definitely places that I'm already considering where I will want to take my trailer on these expeditions or adventures. For instance, grizzly country. I think I'd feel a lot safer in my trailer as opposed to camping out of the back of the truck when I am going to be there for an extended period of time. So during those times, I'll just hitch up the trailer and take it on with me, maybe for a month at a time. And that is the beauty of this situation as well, is I can pick up the trailer anytime I want and go ahead and take it with me on the road for a short period of time. I have been on the road now for almost 6 years. In May, it will be 6 years. I've been living out of this trailer now for almost 3 years. In April, it will be 3 years that I've been living in this trailer. And I feel like it is a point in my life where I'd like a change. I have definitely longed to have a home to come back to, a place that I know is there, that I can come back to. I can take a break from the road. I can get into a little bit of a routine during that time, maybe have a little bit of community around me, and just know that it's there. I've definitely wanted breaks from the road from time to time. However, I do love traveling, and I get antsy. I can't be in one place too long. And once I am stationary for a certain period of time, I am ready to get back on the move again. So I think this is the best of both worlds without having to make a long-term commitment with purchasing land or financial commitment purchasing land. And Again, there are lots of rules and regulations when you do purchase land. I don't think there are very many places that you can just park your trailer, live out of it, and not be bothered. I was watching a video recently where even in Arizona, where I thought the rules were pretty lax on that, they're really not. You can't live in your trailer in a lot of those places year round. You can only live there for several months at a time. It's just incredibly complicated. So for right now, I feel like this is kind of the best of all worlds. It gives me the best of all options. And the only commitment I have to make currently is for 6 months. So my plan is to make a 6-month commitment and to see if I like it. I could end up not liking it at all. I want to just pick up my trailer and move on. The good news about that is my 6 months will be up during summer. So I would still have a good chunk in the summer to travel with my trailer if that is something I decide to do. Or maybe I do like it, but I just don't like where I am currently. I can always pick up my trailer and move someplace else and do the same thing in another area. So I think right now, just doing it this way leaves me a lot more options. It's a lot more fluid, and it gives me an opportunity to kind of test the waters and see if this is something that I really want to do long term. Change is always scary, not only for me on a personal level, but also for my business, which is my YouTube channel. It seems like when you do make changes, some people are on board with it, some people aren't. Ultimately, I have to do what's best for me, because I think that if I'm happy, then I'll be inspired to make the best content possible, be as creative as possible, and ultimately put out the best product and the most authentic product for you all. And as I said, if all goes as planned, things won't really look that different for you all. You will be just seeing me out on adventures like you always do. I will just be living out of a different vehicle, and even when I do come back to my home base, I'll just be editing and producing and uploading the content that I had filmed previously while I was out on my expeditions. So it will just all be kind of seamless for you all. I'll also be home basing out of a beautiful area that will also have all kinds of things to do and content create just in the general vicinity, which is fantastic news. I do want to share with you the general vicinity that I'll be in, but I want to do that very carefully, not only for myself, but the owners of the property, and I'll figure out how to reveal that, which I will do down the road. I'm feeling really excited about it. I had some hesitations and some reservations, but day by day those are disappearing, they're fading away, and I'm just feeling really excited and ready for a bit of a change. I hope that you all are excited about it too. On a completely different topic, but it has to do with the plans I have for the upcoming year, it is now legal to film in the national parks again without a permit. The Explore Act passed, so that is fantastic news for myself, the channel, other creators who love to film in the national parks. So that is definitely on the calendar for the upcoming year. The parks hold some of the best trails, scenery, and wildlife there is. So I'm very excited to be able to film in the parks again. I did post a couple videos last year from from 2 of the parks, I think, but I was not able to monetize those. So this is very fantastic news. I'll tell you guys, the evolution of life is a trip. You never know where it's going to take you. I could have never imagined, a little over 6 years ago, 7 years ago, that I would have been living on the road for 6 entire years, or just about 6 years. I don't know that I knew that I had the gumption and the grit to last that long, and it's amazing that I have. And it's to the point where I can't just stop cold turkey, if you will. I would definitely need to ease into a place in life where I'd be ready to be at a home base full time, and I'm definitely not ready to do that just yet. So for now, it's just going to have to be on a part-time basis. It's exciting. It's exciting times, and I'm excited to show you how I'm going to get the truck all dialed in, which is going to be upcoming. My camper shell is ready. I'm so excited. I want to get out and start camping in it, just to start testing everything out, seeing how it works. But before that, I am expecting some snow. I am expecting some snow in the next couple of days. I'm hoping that it really comes down so I can capture that for you, which hopefully, if it does, you will see that in the next video, which was going to be fun. 2025 is off to a roaring start, and I'm excited to bring you guys along with me this year. Thank you so much for your support. As always, I so much appreciate you guys. There would be no me without you. I appreciate all of the kind comments that you leave. I read them all, even though I'm not able to respond to them all. I do read them all, and that is what inspires me and keeps me going, knowing that maybe coming along on my videos vicariously brings joy to your life. That really touches my heart, and it really is what keeps me wanting to keep on going. If you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing. It is time to buckle up because we are getting ready to get on a wild ride, and I would love to have you along. It's absolutely free and it helps the channel a lot. Stay tuned, and I will see you all on the next adventure. See you soon, everybody. Bye-bye.